welcome to my talk series English with Purpose. I'm 𝗂𝗲, or the Mindful English Language Coach, and I empower professionals to find their unique and confident voice in English. The idea of English with Purpose talks was with me for a long time, and I finally am here. The goal is to ignite conversation around the fact that English can be a connector or a tool that can help us express our views and our thoughts and our ideas with the rest of the world. And part of the goal for this talk is that I want to release the pressure of perfection for professionals where English isn't the native language. Ready for an interesting conversation? Follow me. So, hi everybody. Today with me I have Cécile, someone I follow on LinkedIn, and I am very happy because she's posting interesting things about resilience, about confidence, about presentation skills, about being yourself. And this resonates with me a lot. And that's why you are here today, because I wanted to invite you and have this chat like with my other guests. There shouldn't be this fear of, I'm not a native English speaker, so I have to hide somewhere and not talk about my ideas, you know very well, right? So before we get into it, I know you were doing a lot of things, but first, can you tell me and my audience a little bit about you, Cécile?
Yes, well, thank you for having me, 𝗂𝗲. Thank you very much, because I do follow you as well, and I love reading your posts. So I guess this is an exchange of admiration, you know.
Yeah.
So it's interesting what you say, because we do have a fair amount of judgment we may have on how we speak when it's second, third, fourth language, and right. English is my second language. You can speak, as you can hear, I'm sure, you know, I'm a frog, I'm French, and I'm very proud of it.
Well done, yeah.
And I learned English when I was 21 years old. So in terms of the accent, in terms of, you know, the musicality of a language, I knew that I could have a really good and fair command of the language, but this will always be a second way of expressing myself. So that's, you know, something I came to at peace with. This is just the way I'm going to sound. Sometimes it's worse. So if we would have recorded the session in the evening, the French accent will be multiplied by 10. Because
it would take over your whole thing, right?
Absolutely.
Your whole existence, right?
But morning, it's quite good. You know, I had my coffee, I had a good night's sleep, so it's going to probably be the best you can get.
Right.
So I speak English as a second language. I went to Edinburgh from all the places, so I learned English in Scotland, but I still have a very French accent. So the musicality is something that I love to hear when I meet people. Yeah. And I do meet a lot of people thanks to my job. And what do I do? Well, communication is my business. That's what I like to simplify it. So what does it mean? It means that I coach people on their presentation skill, but it could be a speech, it could be a town hall, it could be a moderation. I also train groups in corporation settings on, you know, public speaking, presentation skills, pitching. Sometimes it's just how the team communicates among one another, and so every single individual will have to understand their preferences in communication and accept the differences with other ways of communicating. So that's fascinating.
It is. Yes.
I coach as well people that want to have a TEDx out or a signature speech, because TEDx is not the only format where really inspire people. What else? I'm also lecturer, faculty teacher on applied communication, multicultural communication, and I love going on stage to inspire people, but not only. Right now, I'm doing another exercise that I've done before, but it was not on the topic that I love the most now on communication. I'm writing a book, and the book is written. It's now the part that I hate the most, but that's when the magic happens, is the editing.
It's the,
And
oh yes.
gosh,
Now
that's
it's the, you know, sweating blood and checking.
and tears. And no, I'm not, you know, I'm not completely a how do you say, like a masochist, or, you know,
Yes,
I'm
no, you don't want to torture yourself.
So no, it's just like I'm basically help. I'm getting help from other people that, you know, and I'm not a perfectionist. I just see the big thing. I just go for it. But and it's really working the magic. And that's where the questions about, but this is my second language, I can't do it.
Exactly. You raised the point of getting help or getting support. You cannot do everything on your own, whether it's about the logistics of your business or this, that, oh my God, I have a speech to give in front of my boss and it's in English. You know, and they're sweating bullets and maybe someone else can do it. I have had people telling me I have a need for clients because my business needs to survive. But if I get someone who is English speaking, I run into the other room. I mean, this fear, it's how can I say, primal? But
absolutely, yeah. But I think this is a really good word. I love that.
Learn how to deal with it.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you something because it's stuck with me, and it's still something that I'm thinking about. You talked about confidence in one of your posts, and I want to quote you. You said, all it takes is courage and audacity.
Yes.
What do you mean for everybody who is listening and watching?
Okay. So I need to go back to what you said, because the primal, this is exactly where fear gets off. Okay. Yes. And the only thing about fear is it's a beautiful primal system that just is only looking for safety and reward. Okay. And from that point on, which is a very basic need, you know, that just to protect ourselves, there is going to be a chemical reaction, in-chain chemical reaction in your body that's going to give you symptoms. Right. And the symptoms could be a dry mouth, shaking, going to the toilet every 2 minutes, not being able, absolutely stuttering, not being able to think straight,
fidgeting, everything that you cannot control at that moment.
That you think you cannot control.
Yes.
Once you understand where it comes from and what is the underlying, you know, survival need, then you can start taking one symptom at a time and trying to trick your brain. Okay.
How do you help?
There are like thousands but I think it starts with understanding why your body does that and in which situation. Basically, when you feel fear, your body says, well done, you are a fully functioning human being.
Right. And at this moment, you're not safe. Better do something to feel safe. Right?
I know. It's just time to... It's a great indication. It's a great indication that you're experiencing something out of the ordinary.
And out of your comfort zone.
And out of your comfort zone. So what does it mean? It means that, okay, perhaps preparation needs to be better or more efficient. That's technicality, because there is a lot of things about fear that you can actually compensate with techniques, with skills.
Absolutely, yes. Right.
Okay. And then if the symptoms are still carrying on, there are ways, there are breathing exercises. There is just going to walk, up and down the corridor, because, you're moving left, right, and rebalancing, the energy of your brain.
I agree with you.
Visualization. I mean, there are just many things. I love fear. I love it because it's a great indication that what I'm doing matters.
It matters. And once you overcome it, you can look back and you see how much you've grown or how much you've progressed.
Absolutely. And that's where the confidence.
About something that for me was real fear, learning to drive. And as soon as I put into practice the mindfulness, what I'm talking about, and being present and just watching what's happening on the streets, I immediately felt a release. And it matters to talk about the fear, even as a professional who works on fear, on insecurity, and for me, English language coaching, we have to talk about it openly, and then you grow.
Absolutely. What I like about what you said is about being present, because fear is not being present. Fear is having a projection of what could potentially happen in the future.
The worst case scenario, which goes bigger and bigger in your head.
It's Armageddon, in your head, it's like,
yes,
it's always worse. So what's interesting is if people cannot be in the present moment, because for some people, this is very difficult. Okay. If you can create a scenario that is terrible, then you also have the power of creating a scenario that is happy, that is successful, that is brilliant, where you feel empowered, and where things are going to be great and positive for you. On that visualization, a word I'm trumping on.
Yes, exactly. I'm thinking that there's a lot of this quote out there, fake it till you make it. And it always made me cringe, because you need, according to how I see it or translate it, to be someone else, to pretend that you're not afraid. And I said, actually, no, embrace the fear, accept it or work with it, breathing, whatever technique you have in your toolkit. But don't become someone else. No. And I've had also people tell me, I have this important meeting with someone from the US. Can you help me please sound like an American? And I said, no. You are talking with the wrong person. I cannot make you someone else.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, about the fake it until you make it, what I take from this technique is only the posture. Because your body, again, it's part of the symptoms. When you feel fear, perhaps you're just going to collapse, and no, that's not going to help you. However, having a strong posture, a confident posture, is part of being fearful, but doing it anyway.
I have another question for you. You said that your first language is French, and cute, I like it, you're a frog. But do I understand correct that English is the language you chose to operate your business?
I started, so here's the real truth.
Yes.
I live around Zurich. I discovered, I learned English and acquired a level of fluency within 3 months. And I thought that German was going to be the same. My brain blocked with German. The musicality of the language is something that is very, very hard.
I'm guilty on that as well. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I cannot function in the language that surrounds me, my living. So by default, I chose, English, because I'm talking to mainly international corporation professionals that have to operate in English. But now and again, I also have people that operate in German, but they want to work with me in English because they know they can translate. But in terms of the skills, it doesn't matter. Because public speaking is about crafting something that will matter to your audience, and that work, it doesn't matter in which language you do it. If you understand the underlying concept, it's applicable to any kind of language. And lately, from the last 2 years, I also started to work with my first language. And here's the funny thing, Vera. Because I've built up my communication culture and skills with English, I was petrified the night before I was going to give my first training in French. Thinking, am I going to find the words? Am I going to be that eloquent?
This is brilliant what you say. When I have also people that I coach, they tell me at the start, it's really hard to switch from my language to English. And then when they have the training, they tell me, oh no, crap, I cannot find the words in German or in Spanish. what's happening? And I said, well, that means you are exercising your muscle, your brain muscle in one language, and this is good. Just relax, and the brain knows what it's doing. And I'm sure you've had that too, this, and then it all went fine, no?
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're authentic and you say, you know what, I can't find the word, and you ask the audience,
right?
And if they follow you, you know, your train of thought is, even if the word, the specific word you want to use is not coming out, because you led your audience in such a specific way and logical way, they give you the word for you, you know, and that creates a really strong connection. You have to be, you know, okay to be authentic and vulnerable and just say, you know what, you know, I just can't find it.
Professionals have hard time letting the vulnerability show? Like, why is that from your experience?
The experience is, well, that's what I'm writing about. So that would be, you know, we need
Give
more
us a
than
sneak
30 minutes.
Peek then.
But basically, my thesis is about authenticity, is that, so I'm writing about authenticity and how difficult and hard it is to portray it and show it in the workplace. And especially when we present, when we enter the boardroom, and then suddenly we think we're not good enough, we think we don't fit, we think that they basically got the wrong person to talk about.
Yes, I'm not qualified to be here. I don't deserve it to have this responsibility.
There are so many layers to it, but I will say that we think and we convince ourselves that we need to wear a mask. And that suddenly in that moment of vulnerability, because everybody is looking at me and I think that everybody has an opinion of me, which is, by the way, completely untrue, then suddenly I can't function any longer and I'm feeling petrified because I can't be authentic. I've got to wear the mask. I've got to remember when I need to talk. There's just too many things happening.
I
allowing
have
yourself
the same issue with my clients, my audience. It is this thing that I over and over repeat. You can be yourself. You can be who you are with your accent, with your fillers, or sometimes show that you don't have the answers if you're put on the spot. What do you think about that right now? You have the right to say, let me think about it. And I've heard something from a dear client of mine a few years ago back. Behind every business, there is always a heart or a person. And immediately it made so much sense to me. And I repeat it to my clients. At first, it's hard to believe it. It's like, what? I'm in a corporate world. I'm a professional. I have to be so and so and so. And I said, well, yes, in a manner of speaking, yes, but who are you?
Absolutely. And that comes down, it's interesting what you say about the heart, because when I work with my clients on, you know, understanding what is their confidence, because, you know, everybody has a very singular, very specific and unique way to express their confidence, and you need to look into that. And I always, you know, have them think about like a compass, a clarity compass. And that comes back, you know, to the title of your business, you know, or this podcast, the clarity. And it's about knowing exactly like what is your skill set? What is your passion? What is it that you stand for or don't stand for? And with all that, how to contribute to the world. It's a big one, you know, it's the purpose.
Of course. But
you know, your word, like in your family, in your team at work, in a corporation, if you know that, because if you're working with a company that does not share any of your values, how can you be confident presenting something that is against who you are at core? You're asking yourself the impossible.
Plus doing it in a second or third or fourth language.
Yeah.
Right? It feels more alienating, that it's so much far away from you. But my next question is, how do you deal with your clients when they feel that they will mess up the presentation because my English is not so good, or I don't sound proper, or they have an issue with English, what do you tell them?
So when they have an issue with English, first of all, I truly believe, and I'm very like down to earth, 80% of your confidence is preparation.
Exactly.
So and I like to work with videos as well, making sure that, okay, you're going to record yourself. You're going to make the recording available to somebody who is speaking English as a second language, somebody that speaks as a first language. Are there any point in time where what you say can be misunderstood in terms of, and only concentrate on that? Then we rephrase or we find another word. There are words, there are words that I'm butchering, big time.
Yes.
And well, you know what? If I, stumble on a word after and after, I have enough command of English to find a synonym or something.
Or
an example, just pick something else. And even simpler. Oh, well, so why not? Everybody will understand. So it's down to the preparation. And I reassure them that, look, you tested your audience already. Yeah. And also, I have to say, what I do as well is I'm not a voice coach, but I'm using some of the tools and some of the exercises that my voice coach gave me. Because at the end of the day, English, French, your voice is a tool, but we don't really know how to use it. And what I do is, excuse me. So what I do is I take a pen, especially for the people that speak too fast. Because when you first hear somebody speaking English with a tonality, a musicality you've never heard before, for me, what's difficult, for instance, it's the Indian accent. I find it really hard to tune in with their accent.
Yes.
But if you take a pen and you speak for 1 minute with the pen just behind your teeth, eventually you are over-pronouncing everything, which means that you're also slowing down. And that gives your audience the time to adapt to the frequencies and how you speak, and you avoid misunderstanding.
We talked about the hot topic of fear of failure. My question to you is, when you have this moment of you cannot find a word in English, or by the evening you become total French, and I don't know how you sound in the evening when you speak in English. Is that connected to at all to fear, or is it more of I know and it's okay?
Well, I am at the stage where I know, and that's okay. This is who I am. And, I can just even warn the audience saying, yeah, look, this is a late shift for me. Be aware that, I may become more and more French. So if there is anything you don't understand, make yourself heard. Okay. So you just basically prompt your audience about it. But
whether it's a big audience or whether it's one-to-one, right?
Absolutely.
Could be just your boss or a teammate.
Yeah. Be completely aligned. I think fear could be triggered by not understanding who you are truly. And you have to have the curiosity for self-exploration. Because once you understand who you are and how unique you are, then you're not going to excuse yourself any longer about things that, okay, that doesn't work perfectly, but the core, the content, the substance of what I say is I am completely aligned. I know this is based on skill and experience, and this is what other people need. And this is how I can help you.
I think being yourself has also to be the message of you don't have to impress anybody.
No.
Standing in front of an audience and sharing your message, making an impact. You don't have to impress with the best or most complicated vocabulary anyway. So the fear of I cannot pronounce a jargon or cannot pronounce a set of specialized vocabulary, to me, it's like irrelevant. Just put it on the side, park it, and work with the core of the message. Exactly that. We have lots of things in common. Yeah. We exchanged some DMs in the past, and also I want to discuss the power of words. We said, what happens when non-native English speakers or non-native speakers of the language you communicate with lose or don't catch what is being said?
Or the understanding.
Yes, exactly. Not understanding. Could be a presentation, could be a storytelling, could be something, and maybe an expression or a phrase that is humorous or slang. Something, they miss it and they stare at you or they scratch their heads.
Yeah. Before I answer that, I just want to go back to, you know, the comment you were making about fear. And I think at the end of the day, if you have healthy self-love, unconditional self-love for yourself, you can't feel fearful and be grateful for who you are and you know, appreciating who you are. And I think this is the best, you know, the best way is just like, if you love yourself and if you want the best for yourself, this is going to ooze off, and the rest, you know, everybody around you will feel it and feel that positive impact that you have. So that's that I wanted to add that because
that's a good, it's a good side comment.
Yeah. Now about not understanding is, again, you know, the fear is that, oh my God, if I ask, I'm going to sound stupid, uneducated, da-di-da-di-da. Well, the stupidest question is the one that you never ask. For me, that's, you know, that's the one I give to my teenage daughters, the one I apply to myself. And I think people actually appreciate the fact that, hey, what you said there, I don't understand. Is it cultural? Is it the word? Just explain to me. And people will feel very grateful that you ask, because then you're making the extra effort. And it means as well that you're listening.
Yes.
And if people feel that they are being listened to, I mean, the attention is the commodity that is so precious nowadays. So you're showing and you're demonstrating that you're attentive to what is being said.
Actively being present. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. I couldn't have said it better.
Good.
It doesn't matter. Yes, if I use irony or a rhetoric question or whatever, and I see a blank face, then I want to make sure that we are on the same page, right?
Absolutely. And if you don't ask, sometimes people will, you know, when you speak, especially when it's a keynote, or like a training, you're a bit you have the buzz, you know, you've got like all the good hormones as well, you know, going like giving you power, and you've got most testosterone, and you're just going there. But as a speaker, you've got to read the room. That's your responsibility as well. And if you see people going, not understand, I mean, I had my students, you know, on the Monday morning at 9 o'clock, blank stares. Oh gosh, I had. And, you know, when you feel like, okay, things are not, you know, the weekend has been way too much fun for them, change the format, be flexible. The amount of time that I had to make them stand up and go to a whiteboard and work something. I mean, my course was ready, you know, it was all written. But I thought, if I give that to them, that's not going to be the way they're going to listen. If I make them work out and find the answers and already what they know, completely different matter. So you, as a speaker, you've got to be flexible.
This is the magic or the superpower a coach has, that can read the room and adapt instead of, this is my course, this is what I do, take it or
leave it. But then what's the point if people don't remember what you say the hour after, the week after, the month after? Then you failed. That's the way I see it.
I agree. We could talk more and more and more, but let's finish with this. What is audacity? Go back to this word.
Yes. Well, audacity is having the courage to either speak, be yourself. There is an element of danger because you will feel the fear, because you will have everything in your brain telling you, watch out, are you safe? I'm not sure. But it's about whatever the emotion, if you chose to speak your voice, your values, if everything is aligned, you shouldn't be scared. So if you are, do it anyway, because the reward is going to be phenomenal. You're going to feel the confidence. You're going to be proud of yourself. You're going to feel that, you know what? I can just be myself. And it's completely fine.
I can't say anything else. Just be yourself and it's going to be fine. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Cécile, for telling us so much, especially this pen exercise. This is really brilliant one.
It's not very glamorous because there will be like,
it doesn't have to be.
You'll have like saliva and everything, but it's working.
Exactly. If it's working, and then it's all that matters. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Vera.